Today I'm at York St John University. I'm actually sitting in the York St John Student Union bar, which only opened this academic year, and actually haven't been in here yet, and it's really beautiful, so I've chosen this as my spot for today's video. In this video I'm going to talk about my experiences at York St John University and why you should come and study here, especially if you want to study English literature. Firstly, I need to mention that York St John are very kindly sponsoring this video. Even though it is a sponsored video, all of the views are mine. I actually contacted university myself and said, hey, I want to make a video where I'm just going to sing your praises for the entire time. Would you like to sponsor me? And they said yes, so here I am. I started studying here in 2013 and I graduated in 2016. I did a single honours English literature course and it was the best decision of my life. I am very passionate about this university. I think it is genuinely an amazing place to study, so there are lots of things I could talk about in this video. But before I start rambling, here are some shots of the beautiful campus. Beautiful. When I came here on an open day, I instantly felt at home and just knew that this is where I wanted to study, and I've never felt like that before. It felt like a really wonderful community and I felt very at ease. That's genuinely one thing I love about this university, because it is small. You have this sense of community and you get to know people and your lecturers know you by name, and it just makes the transition, I think, of coming to university so much easier. All of the lecturers here are passionate about their subjects and about teaching. They have time to speak to you and share your ideas with you. I became even more confident because of them and their teaching. Modules and teaching I always felt were very innovative, constantly engaging with new media like social media, whether that's using hashtags and doing Twitter campaigns. What I loved about my course was how progressive it was and how diverse it was. I've been to other institutions and believe me, York St John are rare in terms of how diverse their reading lists are. They continually looked at the canon of English literature and broke it down and dismantled it. Every lecture I had, every seminar would just reinforce that words really matter and that they can change things, and that studying literature is not only a really fun thing to do, but it's also an important, necessary and urgent thing to do. It kind of made me want to change the world a little bit, one book at a time. I've actually documented what I read at university. Each semester I made a semester reading list, so if you want to know more about what kind of types of books I read, I will link those in the description. Something that's great about university is that you get to read so many books you just really wouldn't have wanted to pick up, and they can turn out to be your favourites. For me, this is most obvious with the 18th century book Tristram Shandy. There are lots of segments of this book which are just not there. They're like blank pages and you have to kind of fill it in, and it's an engaging activity because you're kind of filling in as much as the writer Lawrence Stern is as well. It's just a book I talk about all the time and I find really fascinating that I would have never have picked up if I hadn't studied here. That book pretty much led me on to then go and study a master's in predominantly 18th century writing. There have just been so many good books. The Awakening, Scarlet Letter, Trumpet by Jackie Kay, Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, my favourite novel, the novel that I did my dissertation on. Each time when we got reading lists, I'd just have like a beaming smile on my face because I knew that the next semester was going to be really fascinating. I was constantly challenged at York St John. I mean, my dissertation was a really challenging project and I learnt so much, and I would not feel as confident now writing essays if it wasn't for being challenged as an undergrad. If you love English literature, if you love reading, if you think that books are important parts of our lives and crucial to society, study at York St John because they believe that too. Now we're going to talk to Dr. Anne-Marie Evans, who's head of English literature at York St John. He's going to talk to you more about the modules and why you need to come and study here.
So my name is Anne-Marie Evans and I'm the Subject Director for English Literature here at York St John. I'm a specialist in American literature, and in particular I look at women writers in the early 20th century, and I am particularly interested in women and material culture and how that works in relation to the American novel.
So why do you think people should study at York St John?
I think there are many reasons that people should come and study English literature at York St John. I think one of the things that's really nice about our programme and that's really special about us as a university is that we're quite small. So we do get to know all our students by name. There's a real sense of community and belonging. And there's a really kind of friendly, supportive atmosphere, not just in our programme but in the wider campus as well. And I think that's a very special thing. I think as well, another really nice thing about our literature programme is that we have lots of visiting speakers, we have lots of writers and authors who come and talk to our students, lots of opportunities to kind of get involved in literature in the real world as it is. And I think another thing that makes us quite distinctive and makes being here quite exciting is the fact that we're quite a politically engaged department as well. So our kind of philosophy is the idea that words matter, and we use this to inform a lot of our syllabuses and a lot of our teaching. And you know, we're very involved in much broader movements, things like Black History Month, International Women's Day, LGBT History Month. We're now getting involved this year in the Holocaust Memorial Day in the city. So we're very much about forging connections between the written word and the real world, and we're very much interested in how books have changed the world, books can change the world, and the power of writing and the written word. So I think that makes us quite an exciting place to be as a student.
Since I graduated, I know there are new modules coming in. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, you're going to want to take these modules, I'm going to warn you now. We've got a new module that's going to be all about war writing, and it's called Conflicting Words, and it's looking at the problems of narrating conflict. So it's not just looking at kind of World War I poetry that students are quite often familiar with from GCSE and A-level. It's looking at things like women reporters in the First World War, and memoirs about war, and novels, contemporary novels about writing war, writing conflict, writing trauma. So that's a really exciting module, and that's linked directly to staff research. We've got another great new module in that's called Sick Novels, and it's going to be all about literature and disease.
Ooh,
yeah,
that sounds good. That sounds really interesting.
I want to take this module, and it's thinking about how ideas about things like contagion work in literature. So it might be looking at kind of a Dickens novel, but it might also be looking at something really contemporary, like a zombie novel, where the kind of the virus is the zombie virus. So it's going to be looking at all those kind of ideas about addiction as well, and kind of really sort of going into the medical humanities, which is a very kind of new and developing area of research, which is really exciting. We've also got a new module coming in that's called From Harlem to Hip Hop, and that's really tracing African American literature and culture. So starting with the Harlem Renaissance and, you know, Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, all that kind of wonderful, rich, exciting literature, and then kind of all the way up to Beyonce's Lemonade, and kind of thinking about that. So that's going to be really exciting as well. Another American literature module that's called American Radicals, that's going to be really looking at writers who very much position themselves quite deliberately as kind of alternative to mainstream culture. So this is a good opportunity for us to talk about Ginsberg and Kerouac and people like that. So we've got some great new modules coming up. New module on called From Civil War to Civil Society, that looks at kind of the Restoration period and beyond, which is going to be exciting, kind of keys into some of your 18th century research as well, and that's going to be looking at the culture of civility as well, particularly. So it feels like we've got a really fresh, really exciting programme. We are drawing on staff research. We're looking at how we can map this onto kind of field trips and stuff like that. But what we've really gone for is we want students to come on to the programme and to choose their modules and to get to read texts that they might not have picked up otherwise. That's kind of the point. And everything that we've put on our modules, we don't expect students to read it and go, oh, what a lovely book, what a lovely read. Everything is about being challenging and asking us all to kind of get out of our comfort zones as readers, as citizens, as critics, and to really try and engage with literature in kind of new ways that ask us to kind of perhaps reconsider our relationship with our environment, with our peers, with our kind of ideas of citizenship and nationhood as well. So we feel really excited. We're kind of responding to lots of interesting political developments, and it feels like a very kind of dynamic time to be at York St John. So it's good times for us. We're really looking forward to teaching our new programme.
Thank you, Anne-Marie, for having like a little bit of time to talk to me. I'd also just like to say a cheesy thank you for actually just making my undergrad really enjoyable.
Aww.
And to all of the other lecturers at York St John who made me really passionate and just inspired me throughout my entire degree. So just a bit of cheese to end this little segment.
We love cheese. Thank you, and we wish you all the best of luck with all your wonderful, exciting things.
Thank you. I will do. Thank you. I hope now that both me and Anne-Marie have convinced you to study English literature at York St John University. In conclusion, York is a fabulous place to study. Not only is the campus beautiful, you are right in the centre of York. From the outside, the beautiful kind of front of the building, you can see the York Minster and you can hear the bells. To be honest, the fact that you get to graduate in the York Minster should be reason enough to study at York St John. Right next to all the cafes, the beautiful parks, the art galleries, cultural points, and also some pretty nice pubs. And the campus itself has this rather lovely student union, which I'm very jealous of because this wasn't here when I was an undergrad. We had a lovely SU, but this is beautiful. And the university itself has just been growing in popularity. I think it's got like the biggest increase of UCAS acceptances. So you need to get on the bandwagon and come and study at York St John. So thank you for accepting me as a student back in 2013, and I hope that I do you proud as an alumni.